Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, Kenya writes off the rest of 2020 for schools. Kids will be staying at home until next year because of fears that coronavirus numbers will keep rising until at least December. The move has huge ramifications for schools, parents and children. Also, as Europe keeps its skies closed to African nationals who might ordinarily head over for their holidays, the staycation takes off in Senegal. It's welcome news for the country's beleaguered tourism sector. And for the love of the dance, one self-taught ballet dancer in Lagos is sharing his skills and his passion with kids across the Nigerian city. But first, Kenya's decided that because of the ongoing risks of coronavirus, the rest of 2020 is a lost school year. And so kids will not be back in class until 2021. Now, it's a huge decision that will have an enormous effect on children and their families. The school year normally runs from January to November, but because the COVID-19 curve is not expected to flatten until December, schools closed in March will stay shut until next year. The country's facing over 8,100 reported infections, with 164 deaths so far. Mukelia Shachwayo tells us more about the plan to keep kids at home.
The Minister of Education, George Mako, has said today that there will be no national examinations done this year. This means that all learners will have to repeat next year. It also means that schools across Kenya next year will have a double intake of grade 1 learners. Early on, the department had implemented an early response plan to lockdown measures that kept kids in school. They basically delivered learning materials through TV, radio, and online portals. They then discovered that because of the low levels of ICT literacy and also low levels of access, thousands of kids were left behind. Now, the coronavirus in Kenya has spread much slower than in Europe or America. However, the country continues to register a growing number of infections and deaths. The department did also say that it will consult with the Department of Health in order to see how they can reduce contact for when schools are allowed to open when the curve is flattened.
And when that until that happens, how is this period of keeping kids at home going to work? It's clearly not going to be easy for parents or the children themselves.
Well, the department have said that they're exploring various ways to keep the kids engaged while they're at home. However, this is still a huge blow for kids across the country, the more than 18 million kids that are in school-going age. Some parents we've spoken to have said that while they understand the need for the department to keep the school closed, they are under an immense amount of pressure. They have to go to work, they have to come home and help their children with homeschooling. Moreover, homeschooling is not possible for all the children, especially for the children who have learning disabilities, and these parents are not able to do what this specialized teaching requires of the teachers when they're in the classroom. There's also been a report of a sharp rise of teenage pregnancies in the country, and so this means that this last year, from thousands of girls in Kenya, next year they will not simply be able to return to school.
And looking ahead to next year, it's not as if once the kids are back at school, they can just pick up where they left off. Teachers and pupils will be under a lot of pressure. What's this likely to mean in the longer term for the education of children in the country?
Well, literacy rates in Kenya are about at 80%. This is relatively high for Africa, but much lower compared to developed countries. And so this disruption in this academic year will not help that. It will definitely cause learning gaps that will take years to correct, if at all.
Mukelia Shachwayo there for us in Nairobi. Well, 10 people were killed by gunmen in an ambush in northern Burkina Faso. 5 of the victims were soldiers. The mayor of the town of Pensa was amongst those killed when an escorted convoy of the town hall was attacked on Monday morning. The country's been battling a jihadist insurgency since 2015. Zimbabwe's president has sacked his health minister for inappropriate conduct. Obadiah Moyo was arrested last month and charged with corruption over allegedly illegally awarding a $20 million coronavirus testing contract to a newly created Dubai-based company. The deal was condemned by the opposition. Moyo also faces charges in 2 other cases linked to the supply of equipment to hospitals last year. And officers in Nairobi used tear gas on protesters calling for an end to police brutality. More than 50 people were arrested as they demonstrated against the heavy-handed tactics that have been used to enforce coronavirus curfews. Rights groups claim that at least 100 people have been killed by police in Kenya this year, at least over 20 since the curfews were brought in March. Demonstrators say that the irony of the police response on Tuesday is not lost on them.
We are not harmed, and we wanted to take our petition very peacefully. And if you can see, they are very harmed. They have arrested some of us, and they have injured some of us. Even in that vehicle, there is one of us who has been arrested.
We're not going to stand for police brutality anymore as a community, as Kenyans or as people who have chosen to make Kenya our home. We're not going to stand for that anymore, and we're going to keep standing up and peacefully protesting until that message gets through.
Senegal's announced international commercial flights will resume on July the 15th, but under certain conditions, in that only countries that are allowing its citizens in will enjoy reciprocity, while Senegalese nationals still are not allowed back into the EU. So that means many who would have holidayed abroad are now opting for staycations and using the time to enjoy their homeland. It's a blessing for the local tourism sector that's been hit hard by the health crisis. Our correspondents report.
After 3 months confined at home, the Diallo family are treating themselves to a day trip. For the first Saturday in a long time, they've headed out of the capital to an amusement park 60 kilometres south of Dakar, right in the heart of a baobab forest. It's a welcome breath of fresh air for these Dakar residents who usually holiday in France, where part of their family lives.
We decided that for now we would wait and see how things go, see if the borders open, and for plane tickets to be cheaper because, unfortunately, the airlines are making up for lost time with their prices, and the country has things to offer, so we might as well stay here and make the most of it.
Stay-at-home holidays, or staycations, are a blessing for tour operators hard hit by the health crisis. At Red Salt Lake, known for its pinkish water 30 kilometres outside Dakar, tour guides haven't seen a foreign tourist in months. But thanks to affordable day trips at around €30 and locals eager to get outside, Maguette Nyong has managed to jumpstart her business again.
Since the coronavirus, it's our first day out. After that, we'll offer other activities. We're going to go to Saloum Island, St. Louis, and more to help the locals discover our country, Senegal.
But can the stay-at-home holiday trend revive the tourism sector? The Senegalese Tourism Promotion Agency is certainly counting on it.
We are hopeful given young people's input, especially on social media, where everyone is posting selfies and sharing their tourist experience in different parts of the country.
The stakes are high, though. According to the agency, Senegal's tourism industry has dropped by 70% since last March, compared to the same time last year.
And finally, Nigeria's long tradition of dance is being further enriched by ballet. One self-taught dancer in the country is sharing his skills and his passion with kids in parts of Lagos. Nicolas Chemin has more.
The young Anthony Madu is practicing his ballet moves. He's one of 12 pupils who have weekly ballet lessons in the poor Ajangbadi district of Lagos. Dancer Daniel Ajala introduced this artistic dance here. He learnt all about it online and in books, and decided to share his passion with these students.
I know the ballet is actually for people who have actually who have money, who are from very high class, because ballet is expensive. And in this area, I know that we can actually afford the luxury of ballet or dance education. So I think it's actually a very beautiful art to introduce to our people here, because it will actually help them to know that this can be done also by themselves.
Today they are not dancing to music because there is once again an electricity cut. The youngest pupil is 6, the eldest is 15. They hope that videos of their lessons will encourage more children to start ballet.
My dream is to make children around the world to be able to share the same dance experience, the ones that are interested in learning dance. I want them to be able to express their feelings through dance, and maybe one day I'll become a dance teacher too, and be able to gather children and teach them how to dance.
Daniela Jala is so eager to teach his pupils that everything is free, the lessons and the kit. His students are proud to have him as a teacher and enjoy strutting the streets of Lagos in their ballet gear.
They get me every time. Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks very much for joining us. Do so again if you can. Take care.